Good afternoon. Good afternoon, colleagues. Just before we start the meeting, I'm just going to hand over to the monitoring officer just for a few words of advice.
As this is the first time we've used this area as a council chamber, I'm going to outline the fire safety issues. We are not expecting a fire alarm, so should one sound, you should proceed to the fire exit. There are 2 exits, one in each side of the room, and both may be used. If the alarm sounds, please make your way through these exits. When you leave the building, you should make your way to the fire assembly point up the steps in the front car park. For this meeting, Lee Hicken will be the designated fire warden. I'm also going to read out some instructions about the use of the microphones. You'll again engage the services of a sound engineer who has supplied the mics. To work well so that everyone in the room can hear, the mics must be used properly. The streaming is also very dependent upon the proper use of the microphones. Please, all members, remember to raise a hand if you wish to speak, so Tim, the engineer, can sort the microphones for you. Please speak directly into the microphones. They are designed for the speaker to be very close and do not work if the speaker is not close. The chair requests that you do not stand when speaking today so that you can get as close to the microphone as possible. The engineer will switch off the microphone when you have finished speaking. And please don't rustle papers, as the noise can be picked up by nearby microphones. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Sternberg. So we now come to the agenda before us. So item 1, election of the Chair of Council. Do we have any nominations? Councillor Dale.
Thank you, Chair. Is that working okay? Yeah, brilliant. I have great pleasure in proposing Councillor Diana Ruff for the role of Chair of Council. During her working career, Diana worked in administration, including within schools, before retiring. And I know from many conversations with her that she has a real passion for education and ensuring that children and young people get the best possible start in life. Diana was a parish councillor for several years, and many of which she served with distinction as the chair of Wingerworth Parish Council. She was elected to North East Derbyshire District Council in 2019 and has served on the Ricknell Homes Board as well as chair of planning. Now, I think we all know that planning is not an easy meeting to chair, but Diana's calm and level-headed approach has gone a long way to professionalising the planning committee. And I think the committee as a whole has come on leaps and bounds in the past few years. I think, hopefully I speak for all of us when I say that she's well respected across the board, and I'm sure she'll bring her firm but fair approach to full council meetings. But I think what amazes me most about Diana is her amazing powers of foresight and the lengths she'll go to when committed to something. I think we know from recent past chairs that they've not always enjoyed the best of luck, particularly as far as their limbs are concerned. Some have even gone as far as to say that the role is cursed with the number of broken legs we've had among recent past chairs. Diana, recognising this and wanting to get ahead of the game, so she has a clear year as chair with all of her limbs intact, opted to have major knee surgery immediately before this meeting. Amazing dedication to the role, Diana. In all seriousness, though, it's brilliant that you've managed to make it here today. And I'm sure everyone will join me in wishing you a very speedy recovery so you can hit the ground running for your civic year. I also wish you the best of luck for your year as chair, although I'm quite sure you won't need it, and you'll do a fantastic job in representing the district, chairing these meetings and raising money for your chosen charity. So all that's left for me to say, Chair, is break a leg, Diana.
Thank you, Councillor Dale. Do we have a second there? Councillor Cupid.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I'm delighted to second Councillor Ruff as the proposed chair of this council for the coming year. I've known Councillor Ruff for quite a few years now, initially as a committed community champion and campaigner, who prior to being elected to the district council, I think spent longer at planning committee meetings, eloquently representing residents than many committee members or councillors. Since then, I've been able to watch and learn from Councillor Ruff as a dedicated district councillor, as a ward member who seems to know almost everyone in a quite large ward on first name terms, and as a firm but very fair planning committee chair, where she's brought a calm and reasonable stance to what can often understandably be emotional meetings. As we head towards a big year next year, I'm sure that will be a crucial experience in chairing in this chamber. I'll let Councillor Ruff speak more about her chosen charity if successful, but I know it's one she's incredibly passionate about, and so she's eager to raise funds, but also crucially awareness and support for them over the coming year if she can. Everything she's done so far as a district councillor highlights to me that she would do a fantastic job as chair. Supporting Councillor Ruff would be her husband Jeff as her consort. Jeff and Diana have been married for over 30 years. Whilst Jeff is retired now, I understand it in his IT-focused career, he was known as the man who could fix the impossible, which combined with his hobbies of steam powered classic cars and the outdoors, should stand him in good stead as consort, hopefully not having to fix the chair's travel to events today. I know that family is rightly really important to both Jeff and Diana, and theirs is very close-knit, and I know that they're ready to support her over the year ahead. So I hope we'll all support Councillor Ruff today as chair. Just on a final note, I understand she's an excellent baker, so there may also be the promise of cake and bake sales. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Cupid. Are there any other nominations? It has been moved and seconded that Councillor Diana Ruff be elected chair of the council for the 2022-23 municipal year. All those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? It is carried. Congratulations, Councillor Ruff. I will now invest you with the chain of office.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, colleagues. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for this honour and privilege to be elected as chair of the council for the coming year. I can assure you that I will do that all I can to repay you all by serving the council and our communities of North East Derbyshire to the best of my ability. I am keen to build on the hard work of all the previous chairs and, like them, intend to be a friendly face received in our town and villages to help showcase the council and the services we provide. My chosen charity is SAFA. It's quite close to my heart. My father served in the Royal Navy for many years. SAFA stands for Soldiers, Sailors, Airmen and Family Association. Most of you will have heard of them, but I'm not sure how many will know that they were the original Forces charity, started decades ago. SAFA works alongside British Legion and Help for Heroes, who seem to get more than their fair share of publicity. With this in mind, I've chosen SAFA so that I can help showcase and raise awareness of the great work that they do. SAFA has helped many families across our own district and will continue to do so. So I hope that you will help support me during the year to raise not only their awareness, but some funds for this well-supported charity. Once again, thank you for this honour. Now I think we should move on to item 3. Item 3. Martin has been an excellent chair, but then we would have expected nothing less. He would be a hard act to follow, both in which he has kept our council meetings running smoothly and fairly, and for his quite staggering fundraising work on behalf of Ashgate Hospice. However, there is a saying that behind every successful man, there is a good woman. Martin has been very lucky. In fact, he has had 2 good women. First, his consort Jean, that has put up with a horrendous year, so well done, Jean. And secondly, Jo Bradley, the chair's PA. Jo has worked tirelessly behind the scenes, so well done both ladies. On this occasion, we didn't want to pass the day without presenting Martin with some mementos relating to your great term of office. I'm not sure how this is going to happen safely and crashes, but hopefully I can present you with a first of 2 volumes, well, only 1 volume, of 2 volumes to capture all of the great work you've done over the year.
So with that in mind, I'd like to present you with the first volume and your council medallion. Without falling over. Congratulations, Martin, on a fantastic year.
Thank you, Chair. So may I be the first to congratulate you, Councillor Ruff, on your election as 36th Chair of North East Derbyshire District Council. Jean and I thoroughly enjoyed our term in office, and I'm grateful to the Council for allowing me to represent the authority. It has been a privilege. Throughout the year, we have carried out numerous engagements, ranging from welcoming returning residents to their refurbished Ricknold home to opening show properties on a development in the district. We attended several civic services across Derbyshire, the memorial service for Prince Philip, the High Sheriff's Legal Service, the Jubilee commemoration at Derby Cathedral, and sadly the funeral of a former council consort. There was recognition of others when attending Emergency Services Day, the Voluntary Sector Awards, and many events linked to the Armed Forces Covenant. A highlight of the year was our visit to Darmstadt-Dieburg. It was great to revisit the area and use the time to promote meaningful links between our communities. It was an opportunity to ignite a reimagining of the partnership between us. The flames of friendship need to be fanned, even more so within the not too distant future, as we approach a significant landmark in our cooperation. Our chosen appeal has been Ashgate Hospice. The work of the hospice for patients with cancer and their families is known to all of us. They make a significant difference for so many people. To raise funds, Jean and I have undertaken a variety of events, ranging from an Elvis night to a Peaky Blinders evening. You may have enjoyed our gin and cheese night or purchased a bottle of gin. You could be one of those who shared a splendid visit to Tissington Hall or came along to the concert at Chatsworth. We have been fortunate to have enjoyed the support of organisations and various individuals. I thank all those who have kindly helped us along the way. A special thanks are for the council staff who have aided us: Joe Bradley, Kevin McGrogan, and Dave Ely, along with Lorraine Shaw of Ricknold Homes. I also wish to express sincere appreciation to Councillor Bentley Strafford Stevenson and Councillor Jane Barry, who have been amazing stalwarts of our fundraising efforts. Jean and I visited the hospice this morning to share with them the news that our civic appeal stands at £79,500. This amount is testimony to the generosity of the people of North East Derbyshire, the hard work of a few, and the backing of family and friends. Jean has been a truly outstanding consort. She has been a tower of strength throughout our civic year and the epitome of grace and dignity. She remains my raison d'etre. Thank you, Jean. Councillor Ruff, I am sure you will have a rewarding year. Jean and I have found it to be an experience we will never forget. Thank you.
Before we move on, is there anyone that would like to say a few words? And I've got loads of hands going up here, so it's Councillor Barry, Councillor Hancock and Councillor Bentley. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say a great big thank you to Martin. I think he's done an absolutely fabulous job. You know, I mean, the amount of hours of work that both himself and Jean have put into this has been absolutely amazing. And I'm really, really proud of you. And it's difficult to say that since you're a Tory, but I'll say it because it's true. I think, you know, myself and some of my colleagues supported you through that, and we all think you've done an amazing job. And it's going to be a difficult set of shoes to fill, I'm afraid. But thank you very much for doing it. Thank you for getting that money all together for the people of North East Derbyshire and the charity that it's going to go to. So thanks again, Martin.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to echo what James said. It's a tremendous amount, and I think also in the chamber, the role of chair is impartial. And without doubt, I think you have been the most impartial and probably the best chair in the years that I've sat on this council. And thank you for that, Martin. It's a brilliant job.
Yeah. I'd just like to publicly acknowledge the work that Councillor Thacker is doing as the chairman of the South District Council. There's not only Councillor Thacker a colleague, but he and his civic consul, Jean Spencer, are two people I'm proud to call close friends. Before I was proudly elected as the ward member for Barlow and Hemsworth, Councillor Thacker asked my wife and I to join the appeal committee back in early 2021 for his civic year. So I've seen firsthand the blood, sweat and tears that he has put in to make this year such a success, both in terms of his fundraising efforts and the civic duties the role entails, all done in his own manner and charm. Councillor Thacker has taken on the role as civic chairman with professionalism, energy, seriousness, commitment, and a great deal of fun, and a profound respect for the position and the role the chair affords. This civic year has been a full-on schedule of events, catering for all interests, and I'm sure you'll all agree that the amount he has raised is a truly phenomenal effort, and a real testament to Councillor Thacker's time as chair of this council, and will have a meaningful impact on the great work that Ashgate Hospice does for the local community. I'm sure we all have personal experience with the hospice, either through family, friends, or friends of friends, and this warmth and respect for what Ashgate Hospice does has been evidenced in the great support for Councillor Thacker throughout his time in office, from members on all sides of this council, as well as within the local community. It embarrasses me. I don't know of a single individual within the wider Derbyshire region who has done more for the people of not just North East Derbyshire and Chesterfield, but further afield across Derbyshire and nationally. He currently supports and dedicates his time voluntarily to over 50 organisations with interests ranging from the arts, the armed forces community, the deaf community, which I'm sure you all know is close to Councillor Thacker's heart, the law in his role as a Justice of the Peace, and in his efforts to support Chesterfield Football Club, to name just a few. His dedication and sense of duty should serve as an inspiration to all. On a personal note, from me and my wife, I'd just like to thank you, Councillor Thacker, for all you do for our communities. Without you, many things would just not get done, and I know of all the stresses and issues you have to put up with sometimes never fail to affect your sense of duty. So, congratulations on your civic year, and I'd like to say enjoy some time off, but knowing how many of the commitments you already have and what you have recently taken on, or are about to, a rest is the one thing you won't be getting anytime soon. So well done. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. And obviously, just to congratulate you, Chair, on your recent election as Chair as well. I don't think there's much more I can say that hasn't already been said, really, but I did ask Joe this morning just to do a quick top-up of the number of events that were both hosted and attended. And I think it was over 50 events attended on behalf of the district and well over 30 events run yourself, Councillor Thacker. So an absolutely amazing achievement. I think there's only one word to sum it up, and that is outstanding in terms of that, the level of funds that have been raised for Ashgate Hospice. And I think that it's not just that. The role of chair is, yes, it's about raising vital funds for local charities and representing the district, but actually being a fantastic advocate for this council. And I think that you doubtless have helped to forge bright new relationships with lots of organisations, both within and outside of the district, which is so vital to us as an organisation ourselves. So all I can say is just a huge, huge thank you. Congratulations on a fantastic, fantastic achievement. Yeah, and there's plenty said of that, I'll be looking at, but yeah, enjoy your time off, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed, and congratulations, Chairman, on your election to Chairman of the Council. I just wanted to sort of add a brief comment to all of the others and just echo what everybody else has said. It's a phenomenal achievement. We raised £79,500 for Ashgate Hospice. It was really was astonishing and very, very worthy charity, as we all know. I just wanted to commend Councillor Thackeray-Martin on his ability, a unique ability, to extract cash and favours out of people. There were days, I have to say, that I felt like I'd contributed half of his grant, but it really was astonishing. I followed with interest all of the activity that he did, and he contributed to one or two of the activities. But he did it with zeal and passion, and for that he really should be commended. It was a brilliant effort. Thank you very much indeed.
If there are no further comments, we'll move on to item 4, apologies for absence.
Yes, Chair. Can you hear me? Yes, we have apologies from Councillor Ridgway, Councillor Lilly, Councillor Lacey, and Councillor Reader.
Thank you. Are there any further? Councillor
Councillor Stone.
And Councillor Stone.
And Councillor Day?
Councillor Rennick.
Item 5, declarations of interest. Members are requested to declare the existence and nature of any disposable pecuniary interest and or other interests not already on their register of interest in any item on the agenda and withdraw from the meeting at the appropriate time. Do any members have any interest to declare? Councillor Hall?
Yeah, thank you. Item 14, adoption of the revised taxi licensing policy. I have a patch issued by a different council, so when that comes up, then I'll withdraw from the meeting.
Thank you. Item 6, minutes of the last meeting. We now have the minutes of the meeting held on Tuesday, the 25th of April 2022. Are we happy that they are a correct record? And if so, is there a mover? Councillor Dale? Thank you. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Cooper. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? The motion has been carried. For the next item, we're going to simply record vote by a show of hands. Item 7, election of the Vice Chair of the Council. Thank you, colleagues. Having just elected me as your Chair, it is now time for us to elect the Vice Chair for the year. Do we have any nominations? Councillor Harris?
Having said all we've just said about that rest year, I'd like to propose Councillor Martin Thacker to the role of Vice Chair.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Cooper, thank you. All those in favour? Any against? Motion has been carried. Item 8, composition of the Cabinet. You will all have received, as part of the updated agenda pack, the paper from the leaders setting out the composition of the Cabinet. As you can see, very little has changed. On that basis, I suggest that we vote the information and move on to our next item. Do we agree to note the information? We can do this by a show of hands. Everyone's happy, looks like it. Thank you. Thank you, members. Item 9, scheme of delegation. Item 9 is our scheme of delegation for the year. I would like the Assistant Director of Governance to run through it and then give you the opportunity to ask for clarification or to speak on it. Thank you, Chair. Each year at the annual meeting, members are required by the Constitution to approve the delegation scheme. This year, this coincides with the interim senior management structure changes. Accordingly, I have taken this into account in the proposed delegation scheme. There are no new delegations, it is simply a redistribution of existing delegations. Standards Committee will review the delegation scheme and make recommendations as to any changes as part of its constitutional review programme for the next corporate year. In relation to paragraph 1.4, there is a proposed change to existing delegations to refer to shared services rather than the strategic alliance, which is one kind of shared service. The recommendation on page 15 is to approve the scheme, but I'd be happy to try to answer any questions. Thank you, Chair. Any questions? Motion, I should have a show of hands before. Raise the hands if you want to pass it. Thank you. Thank you. Motion's been carried. Item 10 is the appointment of chairs and vice chairs. That brings us to this appointment of the chairs and vice chairs for the year. You have in your updated pack the nominations from the majority group. If there are no other nominations, I suggest we put them to the vote. Thank you. Thank you. Like a show of hands if everyone's in agreement. Those against? That's it.
Put me on. Just to make the point really that obviously we've not put any alternative nomination forward for this year, but I think this time next year things might be a bit different.
I
So
think you're right. We'll
let's
still
wait
be here.
and
Thank you, Chair. I'll say this every year, but I truly believe the scrutiny committees, chairs and vice chairs need to be opposition councillors. I think it's very strange that we have the group that's leading the council also chairing committees that are supposed to be scrutinising the council's behaviour and policies and decisions. And that's the way I see it.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? So progress to the vote. So we've got so many hands up for acceptance, some for extension, any against. Just two. Motion's been carried. Thank you. Item 11, appointments to committees and advisory groups. Appointments to committees and advisory groups, as I understand it, the group leaders have been consulted on this and there's still nominations. Are there any last minute changes required? I'd like this speak through. Thank you. Those in favour, show of hands, please. Any abstentions? Those against? Thank you, motion has been carried. Item 12, appointment to the outside bodies. 12 members is the proposed appointment of council to outside bodies. There are in your updated agenda pack, as you will have seen. There is a vacancy on the Holmgate, Derby and Joan Club following the sad passing of Councillor Anne Holmes. I would like to ask Councillor Nigel Barker on behalf of the Labour Group if he wishes to nominate a member to the vacancy.
thank you. We're expecting that. Got a name. Very good. Yeah, I'd like to move Councillor Jones, please. Into that
Thank you.
committee. Thank you.
Is there a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Barrett,
Sorry, Chair, it's just one or two other changes to make as well on some of the rules, if that's okay. I think it was a slightly older version that went out, and I didn't realise that there were a few errors in there. So the community safety partnerships, it's currently down as Councillor Alan Powell, and it should be Councillor Carolyn Rennick to reflect the change in portfolios. Ridgeway Sports and Social Club, as I understand it from Councillor Rennick, it should only be one rep, and Councillor Rennick is happy to do that role as well. And then Derbyshire Police and Crime Panel, it should be Councillor William Armitage rather than Councillor Mo Potts. Otherwise, happy to move to here.
Is there a second now? Is everyone happy then? Should we just have a quick show of hands that everyone's happy with those changes? Thank you. Item 13, operation of urgency rules and thresholds for key decisions. This is the final of the procedural items on today's agenda. Basically, under our procedural rules, council is required to set the thresholds for key decisions at its meetings. You are asked to consider a report of the leader of the council in relation to the urgency rules and to set the thresholds for key decisions. I call on the leader to explain.
Thank you, Chair. This report deals with two constitutional issues that we're required to consider on an annual basis. So the first relates to where key decisions have been made by Cabinet without compliance to the usual requirements of 28 days publication and notice. This is usually when a decision is too urgent to wait. We have to make an urgent decision. The report explains that what a key decision is effectively, and the Constitution also provides an alternative system of notification where that 28 days notice can't be given. And effectively the process is that the chair of the relevant scrutiny committee there would be a discussion with them, and they would obviously enable the report to be considered. However, I have pleasure in explaining that we haven't had to use that system at all this year, so effectively it's not been used, and therefore it's just a report on that fact. The other aspect is the key decision financial limits. Obviously, the financial limit is how the council determines the expenditure of savings and how significant they are, and therefore what's a key decision for Cabinet. The current levels are £100,000 for revenue and £250,000 for capital, and it's proposed that these rates remain as they are for the forthcoming year. So on that note, I'm happy to move the recommendations on page 28.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Keith. We'll go to a show of hands. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? The motion's been carried. Item 14, I'm just going to hand this over to Lee Vicky to explain the way forward.
Thank you, Chair. Apologies first of all to elected members for the need to request a deferral for this item. There's been an issue in that the wrong or the incorrect appendices have been attached to this report, so we're trying to correct that as soon as possible and hopefully bring that back to the next full council meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 15 is urgent business. I have no urgent business at this stage, so I do declare this meeting closed. However, I do ask you to stay in your places for our next item on the agenda. Didn't realise there was that much paperwork. Okay. Unfortunately, we have to go through apologies for absence again, so thank you for all.
Apologies as given at the first meeting, members.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interests. Members are requested to declare the existence and nature of any disclosable pecuniary interests and or other interests not already on their register of interests in any items on the agenda and withdraw from the meeting at the appropriate time. Are there any interests? Councillor?
Yeah, Chair, I'm not certain on where I stand with this, but on item 3, with the Charlotte Park football pitch, I am down on record on the paperwork as a trustee, along with Councillor Morley as well.
Thank you.
So I don't know if we can take part in it. We're on the charity commission side of it. Me and Councillor Morley are trustees of.
Is this the same trust? You're also trustees in your own right?
Yes, well, I'm National Union Mine Workers and Councillor Morley's NACO.
In order to play safe, can I suggest that you leave the chamber?
Yes, no problem.
Thank you.
Are there any other declarations of interest? No. Okay, moving on to item 3, upgrade of football pitch and path installations at Charlotte Park.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to explain a little of the background. As you can see, this relates to ownership of some land in the Charlotte Park project. The owner is a charity with a full charity commission scheme. The scheme names the council as trustee. This means the council has to meet and deal with this separately from the rest of its business. The charity commission requires that trustees deal with the charitable business only in a specific meeting for that purpose. And that's the background to this. And I'll now hand over to Councillor Powell for me.
Thank you, Mrs. Sternberg. Perhaps members didn't realise, because I didn't, that we were, as a council, trustees of the, I better read it out so I can get it right, the Clay Cross and Danesmore Miners Welfare Recreation Ground Charity, by virtue of a Charity Commission order dated September 1988. This is subdivided into 2 other charities, one of which is responsible for the recreation ground. What we are seeking to do today, and what I will propose, is that as part of the huge Charlotte Park development, which you are all aware of, we want to replace a rather decrepit football pitch with a brand new spanking, shiny 3G pitch. It's still on the existing site, so it's not moving anywhere. It's just going to be better. And at the same time, as part of it, we want to install a footpath and cycle path, which would probably be a measured mile, to be installed on the trust land. So if anyone has any questions, I will defer to colleagues, but if not, I will make the recommendations, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just actually clarifying on the legal technicalities here, because obviously, in principle, it's something that we will support, but obviously, if we're sitting here as trustees, we have to make our decisions in the legal interest of the charity, not in the legal interest of the council. And would we be putting the actual legal responsibility for maintaining that footpath onto the charity, which we would need clarity as to where we stood on that one.
Thank you. Yeah. I can start that off. You are quite right. You're making the decision in the best interest of the charity. In relation to the maintenance of the car park, I'd have to hand over to the director of both matters.
What a great.
To you, Chair. Yeah, so the business case previously received with the council hats on included the maintenance of the 3G football pitch as well. There isn't any anticipated maintenance costs or liabilities put on the trust.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yes, people? Are we all happy to accept this report? Could we have a show of hands, please? Thank you. Any against? Any abstentions? The report has been accepted. Thank you. Final item, Chair's urgent business. Just go home and put my leg up. Thank you all very much for my first meeting. Thank you.